Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna talk very quickly about the pickup gacha that we have right now and the limited set. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, as many of you may have noticed already, we have Saika's limited pack, which is pretty good. It is probably one of the best limited sets that there is. So if you want to roll for her, that's fine, but you should be aware that this is not the only good limited supporter and weapon that we're gonna receive right now. So things to take into consideration. Number one, we have the limited pickup gacha for Francis character release supporter. These do not repeat, or well, they haven't so far. You can only get a copy of these nowadays whenever we have these renewal packs, which is a good thing that we have a guaranteed copy of that limited supporter, but it is not easy to get this copy. So maybe you should roll for this one. Getting guaranteed penetration on superstar characters is a really good effect. Unfortunately, the damage increase is only on disarm, but these can easily disarm. Well, not easily, it's only 10% chance, but you can disarm and you can get that damage increase. Or you can use a supporter that guarantees the disarm on the main. So that's one thing. There's also Anose limited supporter and weapon. The weapon is like usable, but the supporter is pretty good if you want to use the Momochi weapons on VR. That's kind of the main appeal. And also the fact that it's a generic blue supporter that gives you critical damage increase for all scenarios. That's really valuable. But Saika isn't behind all of this supporter shit. Like, she is still really good. Let's start with the supporter. Her supporter is going to give you a 10% chance to restore particles by 5% or 10% when using skills. That's not impressive at all, but then it says increases skill damage by 20%, 40%. That's meaningful. That's significant. It is basically a Susune or maybe a Yukina. I think that's the name. So yeah, it is good. It is pretty generic for green. That's amazing. Then increases melee attack penetration by 5%, 10% when maxed out. That's appreciated. Penetration is always appreciated. And deals damage to enemies in front, reduces their HP restoration by 50% for 10 seconds. That's good on PvP. That's niche, very niche on PvE, and not that great on PvE, by the way. So yeah, the supporter is already generic good. And the weapon, regardless of the application of the supporter set effect, perform an additional attack all times when using Shadowless Kick. The effect cannot be duplicated. Increase the damage of additional attacks by 8%, 16% when maxed out per combo occurred by Shadowless Kick. Increases the fortitude by 10%, 20% when maxed out when using Shadowless Kick. The fortitude part is appreciated, it's a pseudo invincibility, but the important part is the damage increase per combo. That's really busted. And Shadowless Kick is an attack that deals multiple hits. Let me put Saika. Where are you, Saika? Here you are. So Shadowless Kick. As you can see, this is going to do a ton of attacks, and if you go full green, you add an additional attack. So yeah, you're gonna erase the enemy if you have this weapon. The weapon is the most valuable, but the supporter is not bad. You probably do want to get it. I have these two at S level 3, but there's one more thing that we need to take into consideration, and that is Lapis limited set that will arrive next week. I'm going to give you a small preview of what this limited set is going to do. So I'm not showing the image, but I have it on the back. So the weapon says has a 100% chance when maxed out to increase the attack area when using Spear Barrage. Spear Barrage, for those who do not know, it is the blue skill, which is great. Her best color for HP recovery and supporting the team is going to be blue. So this is very good, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. Each time the skill hits, increases damage against all enemies by 6% when maxed out with S level 5. Remember that. For 5 seconds, stack 10 times. As you can see by the animation, this is going to do a ton of multi-hits. And it is basically Saika's skill. It is basically Saika's weapon, but with a different character. But it also, instead of giving you fortitude, it enhances her supportive capabilities. So what is the problem with Lapis? The problem with Lapis is that she's not an attacker. She's meant to be your counter and your healer. But that means that one of your 3 characters is not dealing as much damage as the other characters. By increasing the damage that you deal with the main color skill, this is going to allow you to make Lapis a competent attacker, which is her problem. She is not being a competent attacker in VR because she doesn't want to do that, or she can't. Like the supporter role with Bride and Rose and the Momochi weapon is still very viable. I won't deny that, but you need your other characters to be really strong for this to be useful. But if not, you can just use the limited weapon and make her an attacker, and that's going to work. Now, the supporter. For the supporter says, let me check, here I have it. Uses 2 particles when hit to increase ally characters' HP restoration effectiveness by 100% for 15 seconds every 25 seconds. The duration is pretty long, and that's great because that gives you time to charge the 2 particles. Now, why does this matter? And how does it combo with the weapon? You would normally use Piercing Dash in blue, Gem Support or Crystallization, and Moral Boost. You can change Crystallization for whichever you want of these 2, but you would be using these 4 skills in any combination. You do want Moral Boost, that's the only one that you wouldn't change. So, yeah, basically, by removing one of these so that you have a damaging skill, you're going to enhance the other healing option. You wouldn't use Piercing Dash with the limited set. You would use Gem Support or Crystallize to recover more HP whenever you do for your characters. Instead of having to use 2 skills, you use 1 and you get the same value in recovery terms. Then, increases damage taken by enemies when attacking the enemy with a skill by 16% for 3 seconds, every 6 seconds. So it's a pseudo effect for Shikigiri, which is fine. It is fine. You can even combine the supporter with this and Bride and Rose to make the other characters deal absurd amount of damage. But that means that you want to use, wait a moment, preferably skills that deal damage, because it's with increased damage taken by enemies when attacking them with a skill. That means Gem Support isn't that great. You would prefer Piercing Dash, Spear Barrage, and well, you can use Gem Support, Crystallize, or Moral Boost. No, Moral Boost you can keep because it's an attack. Even though it is kind of weird, it is an attack. So you can use Moral Boost, Spear Barrage, or Piercing Dash, and Gem Support. Yeah, I forgot that this was an attack. Like, it is an offensive skill, even though it's more of a utility skill. Then, the active says, each time you receive an HP restoration effect, summons a gem that deals 160% of damage to nearby enemies every 0.5 seconds. So, I know 160 is a small number, but 1.5 seconds, that's actually pretty fast. So it's going to deal a substantial amount of damage. Maybe the translation is not right. I'll test that later. Lastly, increase critical rate of demon allies by of demon type characters allies by 30%. So yeah, this actually is very good. Even for if you want to use the instead of the limited weapon Shikigiri, that's also going to help out. But you do need to use Bright Anose, no debate on that part. Because the farther you go into BR, the more resistance, critical resistance the enemy is going to have. So yeah, that's the thing, guys. Like, I know you probably want to roll for this right now, but you have to be aware of all the things that we have. That's why I told you that this was going to be a rough month. Like, all the year has been rough. Every month has new limited supporters, which I don't like. But the Grammar is probably doing that because of the guild system. They need to get funds. But in any case, if you can afford to put gems, well, that's an option. If not, be smart on what you want. This is not going to return and it's good value. This is very generic and allows you to use the Momochi weapons on VR. This is strong and her supporter is generic. And Lapis limited set is a competent limited set for a very useful character on VR. So yeah, the decision is gonna be rough. I can tell you that much. I don't know what to say and what I should suggest, guys. Like, all of them are good. It all depends on what you want to build in the future or what you already have. If you have a ton of good Momochi weapons with a good enchantment level, then Anose is a very good option, the supporter for Anose. If you are a fan of disarm strategies or you like penetration, then Francis is a really good option. If you like Saika, then Saika is a great option. If you also like green builds, Saika is a good option. If you want to abuse Lapis, then Lapis limited set is going to be a good option. Well, that's it for today, guys. I wish you good luck on your rolls. Don't despair, like, these things get repeated, but usually it happens that they get repeated at the worst time that they could. So yeah, good luck on your rolls. Have a nice day, and tell me in the comments which of these you're going to select. And I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.